What do parents sacrifice for their child? And more importantly, why? Why do they sacrifice for their child? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about in this video, the what and the why. Hi, I'm Nicolene Peck, and I teach parenting, communication, self-government, family relationships all over the world, and I am excited to talk today about sacrifice and what it takes to be a parent, but also why parents continually do sacrifice for their children and how that's a good thing. So I have 4 children of my own, and for years I was a foster parent, a treatment parent for troubled teens. They were all between the ages of 12 and 18, and they had a myriad of different issues that they were dealing with. Lots of them were ADHD, OCD, ODD, FAS, RAD, autism spectrum, kleptomania, compulsive lying, anger control issues. I mean, the list goes on. People might ask me, why in the world would you ever take in that kind of child? Why would you do that and have 4 of your own? Well, we're going to discuss that why, and we're going to discuss what I needed to give up, and maybe even a little bit of what I got out of taking in those troubled children into my home for multiple years. My daughter London, who is my 3rd child, said to me when she was about 10 years old, "Mom, I just love babies. The fatter, the better. I think I want to have 15 babies when I'm a mom." And I looked at her and I thought, whew, 15. I didn't say it, but I thought, you'll probably change your mind on that, because some people think, okay, once you have a couple, you might not be thinking you want 10 or 15. Well, as the years have gone by, she decided maybe she'd settle for 10. So she's dropped it down just a little bit, maybe because she didn't know anyone with 15 children. There just aren't that many people around that have 15 children that she got to meet. So she lowered it down to 10 because she did know people that had 10 children. Well, one day when she was quite a bit older, we were talking about children. I said, "Do you still want to have 10 children?" She said, "I don't know. I mean, I'll just have whatever I'm going to have, but I just love children, Mom. My life would not be complete without having a nice big family." And I said, "I know, London. I know that that is your love." I said, "But let's talk about being a parent and having children and what's required." So yes, what is required? Why would she still want 10 children even after our conversation? And what does a parent get out of raising children? Because I think sometimes we focus on what we give, the sacrifices that we make, but we don't recognize what we get out of it. And I promise you, what we get is a whole lot more than what we give, especially in the long run. I can say that with 100% authority right now because almost all of my children have left the nest. So what do parents sacrifice? Well, they sacrifice a little bit of their just free-for-all time. Okay, when you have a child, then you do have to live a little bit more according to a schedule. This doesn't mean that every child requires a schedule and that you are required to have a really strict schedule, but they have to eat, right, at certain times. So you have to take the time to make the food and make sure they get the food. They also need to sleep at certain times, otherwise they become cranky. So you have to take time to make sure they get to bed. There's also other things, maybe school things they have to learn and they have to grow. So that nurturing takes some time, whether you're going to take them to school or whether you're going to teach them on your own as a homeschooler, which is something that I decided to do for my 4 biological children. I wasn't able to do it for the foster children, so we sacrificed differently for each of those children. There's going to be the sacrifice of time. You have to give it, and if you can't give it freely, then you might convince yourself you don't like being a parent or you don't like the sacrifice that you have to give. But I'll tell you something, really what you think about sacrifice has a lot more to do with whether it's enjoyable or not. Can you like it? Can you decide the person's worth it? That they're valuable enough that you would spend your time, your extra steps, sometimes some hours at night when they have a nightmare or you need to feed them, which is all short-lived things. Can you give those things up? So if you can, then you know that that sacrifice is not going to feel as bad as it might sound. Of course, you're going to be sacrificing money because you have to have some money to help them get what they need in life. Of course, you're going to be sacrificing some of your own social life. This doesn't mean you can't have any social life. In fact, there are many parents who have a really robust social life. They just get in with other families that have children where the children can have social time while the parents have social time too. And that's a beautiful thing. It creates a really fun family culture that you can share with other people. You probably won't be going on as many solo trips as you used to, and if so, you might have to find babysitters if it's not a trip that you're going to be bringing the children along. So probably one of the biggest things that you sacrifice is just some of that spontaneity. When you have a child, you have to say, well, wait, if I'm going to do that, then who's going to watch the child? Or what do we do with the child during this time? That's one of the biggest things that parents sacrifice, and quite frankly, for what you get out of it, it's totally worth it. Before I get to what parents get out of their sacrifice for their children, as well as why they would even want to sacrifice in the first place, hit that subscribe button, because there are videos that come out on this channel every day. You are not going to want to miss them. They will help you with so many different areas of your life. Subscribe now. So what do parents get out of their parenting? I'll tell you what they get. They get purpose like nothing else can deliver. I have written 11 books. I have made courses. I have spoken around the world. I've spoken at the United Nations. I've spoken to heads of state. I've trained different religious leaders on how to strengthen their families. I have spoken just about anywhere that a person could speak that's considered prestigious. But you know what? Even though that's purposeful, to me, there is nothing that compares to what I get when my 17-year-old son comes up to me and says, "Aw, Mom," and gives me a big hug and says, "So, how was your day today? So, Mom, do you want to go play pickleball at the park with me?" Those moments are more powerful than all of the other things I do to try to help the world. His heart is literally mine. My heart is touching his. I get a connection that has this feeling of dependence that's healthy. It's this interdependence that we share with each other. I share this with all of my children. They truly end up becoming, in their adulthood, my very best friends, besides my spouse, who is literally top of the list. But we have these family bonds that now are standing the test of time. As they're getting married, as they're having children of their own, the bonds just grow richer and deeper. The love just expands even more. I get such a feeling of love and purpose, there's nothing that can compare. I also get confidence because we get through a lot of problems, don't we, when you raise a child? I also expand my capacity. When you wake up in the night and you still have to keep going the next day, guess what you just grew? Your capacity. Guess what you just lost? Your excuses, especially if you stuck to it. When a person becomes a parent, from the very beginning that they hold that baby in their belly until that baby leaves the nest when they're an adult, they are growing and expanding their capacity. They are becoming stronger and stronger because of the things that they are experiencing with their child. Really dedicated parents who are all in don't have time to be fragile. Instead, they just step up to the challenge again and again. And you know what? If they do a great job, their children also become anti-fragile, which is something we desperately need in the world today. So why? Hopefully you've already understood the why. Why would a parent choose to sacrifice for a child? Well, it's pretty simple. Parents and children are connected by bonds of love that are stronger than anything else. Once you have that child, then you understand. Before you have the child, you don't get it. You don't know that love can be as great as it is. Why? Because they never knew their love could be so big, so broad, so encompassing. Parents love their children no matter what. Parents feel connected to them forever and ever and ever. It gives them a purpose that never ends. They truly become different people, better versions of themselves, because of what they give and sacrifice to their children. Children are one of the greatest blessings to the world. Anytime that anything good happens in the world, it all started with a baby. It all started with a child who taught us what it really means to love, what it really means to sacrifice, and how it's okay. What do parents sacrifice? A lot, but what do they get? So much more. If you've enjoyed this video, I know you'll love my next video, which is called The Expectation Trap versus the Cycle for Success. It's a full class all about how to improve your days by changing your mindset and learning some skills for success. Go ahead and click on the link to The Expectation Trap versus the Cycle for Success now.